Hello everyone. In this video, I'll introduce you to a new feature in Archifruit's AI. In Kiwi, as you know, we could previously upload any visual with the creative method and create different angles from it. We would select a variation in a specific model here, and we could create very nice angles. But we've added a new mode to work with a bit more control. This is the advanced mode, meaning we can set the angle manually. For example, we have a visual like this. In this visual, for instance, we want to look not from this angle, but from the other side, from somewhere over here. We can do this without needing a 3D model or anything like that. We drag and drop the visual here. After this, without changing our current elevation, we just change our direction a bit to this side. Look, from our current angle, how many degrees is it? You can see it here now. With a 48-degree turn, meaning the camera will turn this way, everyone. I'm not doing any zooming or anything. I'm leaving it as is and clicking create. So not from this angle, but we'll need to look from the exact opposite angle from somewhere over here, and it will create it in a short time. Here, the camera control value is very important. If you increase this camera control value more, you might experience some distortions around the edges. But you have the chance to generate an angle that is more suitable for the one you've set here. We'll try it now. We'll see what it's like. First, let's look at this current result. Look, as you can see, the camera has turned. It's looking from this side now. So our project, our visual, everything is the same. Let's download this. If you want, let's go down a bit more. Let's lower the camera a bit like this and turn a little more from the right side. Let's see. Here, let's change the camera. The control value a bit more to 2.0. It was 1.0. We're changing it from 1.0 to 2.0. Now, what did we do? We lowered the camera a bit more, tried to look from the right side a bit more, and we also pushed it a little so that our angle would be exactly the same. Now again, look, it will perform this operation from scratch, from this visual. As you can see, the camera went down, but you can see there are distortions around the edges. These distortions are related to the value here. The lower you keep this value, the fewer distortions there will be. But the camera will also have more freedom to change the viewing angle. So you might need it depending on the situation. If you don't need the environment much, for example, you might ask, what's the use? Look, for example, we downloaded it like this. If we take this and process it with, for example, the banana module, this problem will probably be solved. When we render it with 2K Pro, these distortions in the background will be fixed. Specifically, we will have essentially rendered our architectural project from this desired angle. So if you can use the things we do here in combination, in a way, it makes more sense. Because we can't use the output from here directly. Even if we use it, it might not give a good result. Because the resolution drops and it also creates a, a more matte image. It creates a kind of not so nice image. Look, you can see it's like this. Of course it looks like this because it's a preview. When you download it, the final image will be clearer. As you can see, we've changed the angle and rendered it beautifully, quickly, and when we render it with the soft banana module, we get a very nice result. By the way, instead of rendering directly with banana, you can render with clarity. For example, if you render this image from here with clarity, my friends, then you will get a very nice result with a 2K value. So in the end, it might not be a good idea to use the image we got directly from here on its own, because the resolution is a bit low. Look, these details you see here are not very good. The way to get rid of these is to run the result here through a clarity upscaler again, as you can see here. Or you can process it with Dragonfruit if you don't want too much distortion, or you can combine the two. For example, if you take the result from here, you can see the plants and everything have become much more realistic, and you've rendered it from a different angle. I think this is a very useful feature. As you use it, you will see how useful it is. Now we'll be able to solve many things from here without having to deal with 3D. Now we have an image like this. Let's try it on a few images. For example, let's say we want to see the exterior a little more here right now. Now I'm uploading the image. Look, I'm going to turn slightly this way. I'll also pull the camera back a little, slightly. Okay, my friends? We can also raise the height a little bit like this, not much, and we render. So in this case, let's fully understand the angle and the 3D environment here, play with the values accordingly, and see the result, my friends. What kind of result does it create? Well, I honestly like this a lot. Look, you can see right now, it's a quite interesting situation. It's great that it can see this and create such an angle. Of course, we can't use it like this. It's not very realistic this way. By the way, this is the original version. The preview there might look a bit bad. Well, you can process this from here with papaya or dragon fruit. I already showed you earlier. this works for many things, my friends. For example, let's look at this image. Another interior image, like this. I want to zoom in a bit more, my friends, and get an angle that's a bit closer and slightly turned towards the window this time. I'll refresh the page again. It would be good if we could actually set the camera movements here to reset when a new image is uploaded. Now what are we going to do? I'm making a slight turn like this. I'm zooming in a bit more with the camera, my friends. I'll also look from above a bit like this. Look, I'm rendering, so I'm trying to create an angle where we'll look at this environment from a bit higher, a top-down view. I'm not changing this camera value much. When you change this, you might experience distortions. Pay attention to this. Try it directly with a value of 1 like this. If you can't get the angle you want, you can force it. You can do this by sacrificing the environment. If you have one object in the middle and the surroundings are not very important, these kinds of things can be done. But I don't recommend this for interiors right now, my friends. Yes, look, it's creating a top-down view of this environment. I think it's quite impressive, my friends. I hope the topic is understood. We are continuing to develop the Archifruits AI software. Stay tuned.